Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Sunday, April 28th, 2019. My name is Rich, and joining me once again is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, man. Finals are kicking my butt, but I'm going to make it through.
Avengers didn't get you completely pumped for this weekend? Didn't it sustain you?
Good point. I just watched that last night, and that was absolutely amazing. No spoilers, y'all, but if you are into Marvel or basically any of it, if you've watched Infinity War, I could not have asked for a better conclusion to that. It was amazing.
Yep, everything we wanted. And so is this. So is ANW Junior, what we're here to cover. We are in the semifinals, and it is everything I wanted.
Man, does it feel like it. Like, the level of skill, bro, is just insane when it comes to this. I mean, everybody's going for it, and it really does feel like the semifinals, doesn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Right off the first race, I was like, oh, this is a whole new level. Like, as great as it was at times through the regular season, this is definitely feeling like the semifinals.
Oh, yeah, big time. Before we get into it, how do you feel about the course? They didn't change anything up. Are you cool with that, or would you have preferred to see a little bit of change?
I might have preferred a little bit of a change, but I will settle for it if they do it in the finals itself. Like, I think that will be enough for me.
That's my thought, is that at the very least, the finals, I want to see at least something change. Part of me feels like it's not going to happen, but I really hope the finals, there's some just difference, you know? But I understand. I mean, I don't know what the budget was. It's whatever. I'm not going to harp too much on that just because this is an offshoot of ANW. And the other question I had looking back on it is I don't necessarily think they seeded it based on anything. I mean, I feel like the runs, or at least the finalists, when we look at the people that are actually in the finals, make it to the finals, I feel like it would have done better if they seeded the athletes based upon maybe their fastest time or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a very sneaking suspicion that some of it was done to get certain people to the finals that they really want to have there, maybe. But I don't know. A little bit of conspiracy theory there, maybe.
I don't know. I have to look back. I felt like it was just based upon like where they placed like in the season. Was it not like, winner of episode 1 face episode 2 and so on and so forth? Was it not that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I guess it might have been.
Yeah, I'd have to look back. I don't know, but oh man, the only thing is, and I'm sure you felt the same way, is there were many instances where I'd be like, these two people I could easily see in the finals, and then the next run will be like, neither of these guys have a chance. So
yeah.
It's kind of rough on that.
A little bit. It happens. It always happens that way. Let's go. So I gotta say, we're not going to cover every run. There's a lot of runs. We're actually covering, to be clear, episodes 17 and 18. That would be the 9 and 10-year-olds episode, which I didn't know they're going to split them up this way. I like it. So we had an episode of just the 9 and 10-year-olds.
Not everyone. Oh, sorry to cut you off, man. I was just about to make a comment. Fret not, everyone. We are finally catching up.
We're getting close. So we're going to cover the 9 and 10-year-olds episode and the 11 and 12-year-olds semifinals as well. And then next week we'll do the 13-14s and the finale. So they went over the prizes here. We had talked before about what the prizes were. I don't think we actually got all the details before this. Mm-hmm. So the top 16 from each age group come in. They do a single elimination down to the final 4, which will be the finale. And the first place competitor gets $15,000. Second gets $7,500. Then $5,000 and $2,500. So that's some pretty good prizes.
That's really good money for, I mean, let's be real, it's more toward the family than the children, but either way, that's really good.
Yeah, can't beat that. We're going to cover kind of at a high level, not every run the way we typically do, just to kind of go through this at a little bit better pace. So off the bat, I got to mention, wasn't the first run of the night or anything, but man, oh man, I got to jump right to Shawn Arms. We talked about him a lot. He kind of stood out to us during the season. And That kid just blew me away again. Like, I cannot believe how fast he is.
He's amazing. Reminds me a whole lot of Drew Dreshel, very much so. And he's kind of the one to beat right now. I mean, I'm sure everybody is keeping an eye out on him. And particularly, though, I felt like he had the run of the night. I forget what it was, but his first race, Rich, do you remember who he was racing against?
I do, actually, because that was one of the few. I remembered Reader is who he went up against. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a good race. And it was one of the greatest races we've seen. They
Phenomenal.
both went insanely fast. And it was the fastest time they had in the competition at that point.
Yeah, they raised both each other up, and it really came down to grit and like just making these risks at the very right moments and holding on. I mean, both of those kids really should be very proud of themselves. And it's one of those cases where I felt bad about Reader because he was so darn good, And of course, I understand. You can only do so much. But, man, Shawn Arms, he's taking a hard route. Like, he's not facing any schmucks going into through this. And he is really showing, like, the way he's going through I think it's called spin cycle, right? Like, the way his entire approach to this course, he has it down and locked. So if I feel like if it's the same course and nothing's changed, somebody's going to have to really change up their strategy and their approach to this course.
Yeah, they're going to have to shove him off of it because there's no other way they're going to get past him, I think.
Yeah.
Taylor Greene was back. I was excited. She's the kid that went viral.
Oh, she's great, man.
She's fantastic. Very close race right off the bat. Really brought us right back into it. She ended up making it into the final, so we'll get to see her again there.
That said, I mean, Taylor Greene, she could be a dark horse. She really has a good approach to it, and she has a way of staying calm throughout the entire race. That said, I mean, I don't necessarily think she's going to outspeed her opponents, but if her opponents tend to just like get messed up or in any way slip up, I think she's going to be that steady, calm, presence throughout the course.
She's got a good, I wish I could think of a female ninja that kind of compares, but I got to say Joe Moravsky, just as the kind of quiet efficiency that she has really good fast times. Like it's understated. It doesn't really show off the same way that some of the other ones do. But her times were very, very respectable. Like in the 30-second range, like 37, I think it was coming into this, her fastest time, which is right up there with some of the best of them.
By the way, I got to say, I love the fact that they have little mini vignettes before each runner and it's the appropriate amount of time. It reminds you of who they are because it was a long season, and they give you stats, which I found really fun. I really like the stats that they give you.
Yes, the stats this time way better than we ever get in any other Ninja versus Ninja competition. They are consistent. It wasn't like this one collects hockey cards and this one does that. It was
oh, yeah, that was painful.
like this, here is their height. Here is their fastest time and their age, I think, or something like that. Like it was very clearly related to the show.
It's their
we had
record.
A good sense. Oh, their record, yeah. A really good sense of where they fit into it. And there was some very drastic differences, right? We had some that their fastest times were 33 seconds and others that are a minute 12.
Yeah. And that doesn't necessarily represent their skill, right? Because there are some kids that can do like even better, right? Like you might have a minute, but maybe this time, since you're in the finals, you're going to go really fast. But I felt like there was the opportunity of seeding them properly and making things a little bit more, I guess, stronger towards the end of this, towards like the quarterfinals and the finals, so to speak. One other thing is I really like the fact that they have a best obstacle, because for me it was like, oh, I need to watch out for them on this obstacle. Like maybe somebody's falling behind, but their best obstacle is the spin cycle, right? You just never know. Now I'm like, oh, well, they have a chance because let me see them get through this.
Yeah, good point. As far as the stories go, I glanced over them. I agree. The shortened versions were a great way to go. But I got sucked in again to watch the whole Noxa and Roberto, the adopted brothers
great
story.
yeah.
That was so great. I loved watching that again to remind.
And your brother was spot on once again. Love seeing him.
Oh yeah. Their father, for those that don't remember.
A little lost there.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, my long lost brother. Besides that, one of the highlights of the 9-10-year-old range for me was actually, could have been a low point in some respects. That was Collin was like really upset, crying at the start of the, like before they get going.
Yeah.
And Barclay, went over and was consoling him, telling, taking his stress for him. She said, like, hand me your stress. I got it now. And and just explaining to him, it should be fun. Don't worry about it. And really did a great job of calming him down. And so did his competition. James is on the starting line telling him, like, take a breath. Like, you're good to go. Let's do this. I just thought it was a great moment to show, like, even though Collin has like some of the crazy fastest times on the whole course, it's still stressful. It's still that pressure at any age, or any speed, you still feel that intense competitive pressure. And I loved it because he pushed through and he did fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It was a great real moment. I mean, it's human nature, and it's actually something, we've talked about earlier in the season, where it's like these children aren't under all this immense pressure, and yet they are doing fantastic with everything going on. I mean, we really have to think about how old they are. For a lot of people, even in adulthood, they can't even deal with this kind of stress, and yet there's a lot being asked of them. And I really like this moment where it really just grounds everybody, not only him, but grounds everyone in what they're doing, and very much humanizes them. Because at a certain point, I feel like some people me included, I guess, tend to just view them as athletes and like, oh, they got this. This person didn't do as well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, at the end of the day, these are all fantastic human beings that are under all this stress, but also doing these amazing feats. And yeah, maybe some people might be faster than others, but let's not take away from everything they're capable of doing, right?
Yeah. And even the ones that might not be as fast as the others can get their personal best. We saw tons of that where they're pushing each other to go as the fastest that they could. James, who went up against Collin there, was, like I said, calming Collin down. He had a really cool segment. He, with Daisy, one of the other competitors, he made friends with her. He made her a ninja pouch, which I don't know what that is, but it was still kind of cute. Like, he made a friend, and he was like so entertaining on the course. Such a great kid and competitor. I think he got his personal best on maybe not that run, but the one before. Like, I was just loving watching these kids go because they were all incredible.
Yeah, they're great.
Those were kind of the highlights for me. Was there anything I missed that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, for me, Jacob Goldman once again stood out to me. He looked like just a kid that's not only fun, but really, really talented on this course. And he had some really tough competition going in this. I forget, he also made to the finals, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay, because I just remember watching his initial runs. Like, he had some really tough competition, and he was making it through every single time. I felt like he had an easier path. Like, even though they were tough competition, both of his competitors slipped up at some point of the course. But that doesn't necessarily represent how well he's going to do in the finals. I think he is very much a dark horse. He's always looked very fast and fluid, and he takes chances, in particular on two of the tougher parts of the course. So, I don't know. I got my eye out on Jacob, man. I think he might play spoiler.
All right. So that means the finalists were Taylor Greene, Shawn Arms, Collin, Cella, and Jacob Goldman.
So who are your top picks? Of course, I feel like both of us are going to pick Shawn Arms to win, but who do you think is going to be like number 2?
Collin, for sure. For me, yeah. Collin might just win it. I feel like he's got it in him. If Shawn slips up even a little bit, Collin will definitely take it away from him.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I have Shawn Arms as number 1, the guy to beat, but, just to make things different, I think Jacob... I really like Taylor, man, but I think Jacob has a chance of playing spoiler. So I'm gonna say Jacob and Shawn in the finals.
Nice. And like you said,
I really hope Taylor makes it, though.
I would,
Nothing will make me happier than Taylor in the finals, man.
I think that would be fantastic. I think it would. And that's just based on the stats, right? These guys are pulling in. So Shawn had the fastest time. I should mention that. He's just a lightning bolt, right? In his final run, he did it in 27.65 seconds. Like, that is insanely quick. He was just a flat-out run straight through the whole course. We did see, I think Collin got under 30 as well, and seemed to be consistently going at around that pace as well, whereas Jacob and Taylor tended to be in the high 30s, so still incredibly fast, way faster than most of the people that ran this whole season. Mm-hmm. But just not quite at the speed they were going.
Yeah.
But it is anybody's game. All it takes is one slip on this course, and it's come close a few times. So let's move on to the 11-12 range, which was also very, very good.
It was a good episode, but a very frustrating episode for me. I hate to keep harping on the seeding, but I don't know what was happening with the seeding of this episode. I mean, there were so many matchups that were just like, both of these people should be in the finals. Like, these guys are clearly head and shoulders above everybody else, and they're just, even in the first round, right, in the semifinals, rather than even the quarterfinal or whatever. And then the next run will be like, best way to describe it, there will be a run with two people that are under 30 seconds in their best run, and then the next one we'll have two different people matchups where both people are above 1 minute. And then so on and so forth. I mean, it was all over the place in terms of skill. And this one was a little frustrating to watch, I would say. I shouldn't say watch, but frustrating in terms of the placement, but very entertaining in terms of the runs themselves.
Yeah, there was definitely some weird things like that going on. In the end, I think it kind of washed out okay. I really don't feel like anyone's moving on that shouldn't be, I guess.
I think there are two major exceptions, but we'll get to that.
All right, so let's take a look here.
I don't necessarily know if major exceptions to the finals, but just in general where they ended up.
Right. Okay. So let me see here. One of the first races we had was Autumn versus Carter. There was less than a half a second between them hitting the buzzer. Like, we had a few real buzzer beaters in this one. Carter did the flywheels faster, but Autumn skipped one of the holes in the wall to bring it home. And we saw that more than once where just someone was faster on the wall, basically.
Yeah, this was an interesting one because the wall really played a major part when it came to this entire thing. And for a lot of the differences, it was the kids that can go for the very, very top of the warped wall in their run and who had to get the peg first, or I don't even know if peg's the right term, but you know what I mean, that little gap before the top of the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was interesting when they brought up Kai, the kid with the mohawk, that his fastest time, that he had the fastest time in the age group from the previous runs.
I did not know that.
All three of his runs were in the top 5. Like, he is consistently just killing it.
Yeah, and that was interesting because Kai was not on my radar to that point until they said that. And I definitely took notice of that comment as well. I'm like, whoa. And I mean, there's nothing, I saw his races and I was like, this kid's really, really fast. But for some reason, he didn't stand out to me initially, I should say, as like a world beater. But definitely throughout this episode and into the finals, I was like, all right, I need to be more woke on this kid.
Yeah. I vaguely remembered, I do remember thinking he was good, but it's hard to compare, right, from episode to episode. You're not sure how they stack up against everyone until this one. We really got a good sense with all the fastest times being posted and everything.
Mm-hmm. But right off the bat, I mean, I have to go back to one of my favorites, Ella McRitchie. I almost said Aya. Ella McRitchie, just because, she really impressed me during her, I guess, initial runs, right? And then even in the finals, I mean, she isn't as, how do I say this, fluid as everybody else. There's definitely some stiffness there, but with her overall build, she's very long in terms of her reach and everything else. I mean, I think she did fantastic during the finals, and I think she could play major spoiler just based upon her physical attributes themselves.
Yeah, we know she's got a lot of upper body strength because of her climbing and everything else she does. Just not a lot of ninja experience from what we can see, right? So
Yeah, I think she can. Man, I feel like if she goes into like fully into training American Ninja Warrior, when she's like a full on adult, man, she is going to be a world beater, bro.
yeah, I think so too. We should talk about one of these early races that I think you were referring to. So we had Josh Auer versus Tyler. Oh shoot, I don't have his last name. Versus Tyler, anyway. An absolute dead heat with 0.2 of a second difference at the buzzer. Josh had done like a long dismount on the rings, which we saw over and over again, and Tyler did a 3-hop movement through the flywheel. So
absolutely
one
amazing.
got ahead early, and then they made up the difference, and it was just right down to the buzzer, right to the wire.
Oh yeah. I mean, those races are so fun to watch, and I was stunned.
Yeah. I think Tyler got a little robbed in this one. He really could have gone into the finals very easily. So it's a little shame that he didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, one of my favorite races was Rose going up against Caleb. Caleb, who I remembered being incredibly fast, I was like, well, Rose didn't do extremely fast. We could see that even from the stat that they posted. But man, she took off like Caleb, honestly. She just kept it with Caleb like incredibly well to the rings, but then missed a ring and then just got hung up there. I felt so bad for her, but she pushed through and ended up completing the course. But I was so impressed with the early part of the course. Like, she just did such a great job to keep up with Caleb, who was fantastic.
Yeah, this was a frustrating one. And of course, the results speak for themselves. But if you look back at their initial races and them going into this should have been a quarterfinals race or something. Because Rose is so strong, and I thought she was one of the top people to keep an eye out for. Like, she was more on my radar than even Kai was, you know? And Caleb, of course. Like, he's up there with Shawn Arms in terms of, like, whoa, you know? And I was just like, what is going on here? I was so disheartened to see this. I'm like, one of my top favorites are going to go out here. And I really feel like Caleb's on a hot streak right now. So it was disheartening to see her struggle on the rings like that, but I think it just came down to the amount or the point where she had to go for broke against somebody like Caleb, and she got just tied up. I mean, it happens when you take these risks. You know, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was definitely, she had the skills. She was going incredibly fast, and because she was pushing herself to the limit, she made a slip up. That's just how it happens on the course sometimes.
Yeah. And after that, bro, like another amazing matchup with Cal versus oh gosh, who was Cal against? Because I remember both of them were great.
Yeah, the prodigy, Alexander. I always really enjoyed that match as well. That was one of the few that I didn't need an introduction to them. I remembered both of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking forward to that one.
I mean, these are two strong personalities and amazing athletes, man.
Yeah, both did the long dismounts on the rings, but unfortunately, Alexander hit the water on his dismount, and Cal just ended up getting the win. Like, it was just one little slip up is all it took, and Cal was able to do it. Who I am still very big on that kid. I think he is fantastic.
I think Cal very much has a lot of the same skills and kind of personality of the kid, Matisse Awadi. I really feel that.
Yeah,
so
that's a good
I think
comparison.
he's somebody that can be a big personality, at least current years. I mean, there's definitely going to be an ANW Junior like season 2, and he's probably moving on to the next bracket. I have to look at his age if he's still in this one or the next one. I mean, he's definitely going to be one of the top personalities there.
How great are these kids going to be on the next season? Oh my God.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, is it only going to be new kids the next season, or can kids come back? I wonder.
Oh, they better bring these kids back. They better. I would be so mad if they don't bring back some of these.
I know, right?
build me up to care and then take them away. Better not.
Yeah, at least the semifinalists. Like, bring them back, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, let's see.
I feel like Ella did not have the strongest competition throughout this episode, so she made it to the finals. I really have high hopes for her, but we just didn't see her tested all that much, I guess. And no disrespect to everybody against her, but just compared to the others, she wasn't tested as much in terms of the competition. Kai, I feel like we have to keep an eye out for him. I mean, he's it's obvious to me right now of who I think is going to be in the finals, which is going to be Kai and Caleb. I think 100% that's going to be the two people facing. I mean, Rich, do you have the same?
Yeah, pretty much. Kai, in his final race in the episode, he did it in just over 33 seconds, fastest time of the season in the age group, and that record didn't stand for very long because Caleb ends up taking it with the fastest time in the age bracket, racing against Cal in a fantastic race.
So upset. I mean, these two I had pegged for the finals, and once again, it's like, I was watching and I'm like, this could easily be the finals. I was very excited, but I was frustrated that one of these kids weren't going to make it to that just based on the bracketing. And no disrespect to, I believe it's Tate Allen. He's the guy that made it to the finals, right?
Yeah, big game Tate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy for him, but I think if Cal was up against Tate, I think Cal might be in his spot. So it's just one of those frustrating things. And Caleb clearly had the toughest road to the finals and has been amazing. I mean, what's going to stop this kid, man?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, these ones that are getting the fastest times are also the ones being tested the most. Shawn Arms had a really tough, some really tough matchups as well. So, But I mean, I don't know. Of the four, of the Ella McRitchie, Kai Beckstrand, Tate Allen, and Caleb Brown, who do you got?
Caleb and Kai, man. Oh, winning it all? I'm going to go with Caleb. And the only reason I say that is because Kai and Caleb are both very fast and very skilled technically. Like, they're very fluid and skillful. But Caleb, I feel, just has a longer reach, which necessarily isn't like the end-all be-all. But his approach through some of the tougher obstacles, like the flywheels, I think just are going to edge him out. What about you?
I have Kai. I think Kai's going to do it. And I'm basing that more on the supposition that they're going to change out one of the obstacles or a couple of the obstacles, and I have the feeling that Kai will adapt better.
That's a very good point. I mean, that's another thing to keep an eye out for, which I think is really going to make the difference for people or the athletes that train Ninja Warrior like all the time and ones that are a little newer to the sport. I mean, they make some change-ups. You're going to see people that just go through it without any hesitation and some people that are going to be a little bit more cautious. And yeah, very, very good point.
So I was actually thinking about this after you said that earlier, and it's been kind of mulling around my brain a little bit. I think the best way you could really just easily change up the course would be to get the 9 and 10s to run the 11 and 12, get the 11 and 12s to run the 13, 14, and then add in only have to switch out like one new obstacle for the 13, 14-year-olds, basically.
I mean, that's a very good point, right? It's a new course for all of them. I think that's a really, really good idea. I didn't think of that, and we'll see if they do that. I don't know. It's funny because we're making all these assumptions, but like at this point, I don't know if it's the finals or the court, whatever it is. Like, people know at this point, so they're probably just laughing at us. But,
yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So hey, ANW producers, take note for next season.
Save yourself some time and trouble. Just do it that way. I do want to give, before we go, I want to give a quick update. I checked in with Joe Moravsky's like social media to see how he was making out after the injuries that he had. So he seems pretty fired up and doing well. He said when he pulls down on those two middle fingers, it hurts a bit, but it seems pretty usable overall. But when he uses his whole hand, he seems absolutely fine. He's been doing lots of obstacles. He has posted videos doing some obstacles and stuff. So he seems good to go. And this might actually be a good thing in the end, because with a small injury like that, I feel like he's going to be extra attentive. There's not going to be any slip-ups where he's just taking anything for granted. He's going to be very, very conscientious and really paying attention to what he's doing.
Good point. He's going to be a little bit more careful. I mean, Joe, of all people, I'm never going to worry about making a mistake like that because, I mean, he's not really known for making dumb mistakes. But, I mean, anything mentally that can keep you on your toes, I guess, is a good thing. But from the sounds of it, that means he's going to be running in this region and not one of the later regions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's running Baltimore. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, bold move, man. I mean, we'll see how it works out for you. If there's, like, Joe is so smart and so, I guess, his approach to the course, he's not going to make dumb mistakes. So if there's anybody that can have an injury and still persevere, it's going to be somebody like Joe. So I still have all confidence in the world that he's going to do well.
Yeah, I've regained all my faith in Joe. After seeing the videos, I feel like he's in top form, and I feel like he's going to do as well as we all expected him to do this season.
That's great. More importantly, when it comes to Vegas, he's going to have some time to heal. So hopefully he's fully healed for Vegas.
He's got, what, about 2 months at this point? I think it's in late June.
Sure. I have no idea.
Sometime around then anyway. We'll see you in Vegas next year, so we'll know for sure when that's going to be.
Of course.
All right. One last thing before we go. As I mentioned last week, we have our 100,000th download coming up next month, and we want to celebrate it and kick off the season by getting the podcast played at as many ninja gyms as possible. So if you run a gym, know someone who does, please let us know if your gym would be willing to run the podcast for a few hours one day next month to help kick off the season and show a little love to the podcast. Would really appreciate that.
Yeah, and not only that, next month, hey, like the season's going to be beginning, guys. So right after our ANW Junior coverage, we're going to be going full on into previewing the upcoming season, talking about that. I mean, we're not really going to have that many episodes, maybe 2 or so, right, Rich? But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what's upcoming in the season, maybe some questions. Send us some questions that we can cover. And overall, I think it's going to be fun times. But please send Rich and I your questions for the preview episodes of Season 11 of ANW.
All right, so that is it for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and I love you 3000.
Peace, love, and deuces, y'all.